This was a good one. This was a good one. It was actually not emailed in. It was left on my desk. Very nicely written letter. So I forgot to walk into here with me. I'm not going to keep you waiting. But basically, the question is there any issue of owning a globe? Okay. Now, why is this even a shayla? So the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Daf Mem Beis and Daf Mem Gimel, page 42 and 43, the Gemara in Avodah Zarah discusses the prohibition of owning 3D images of God's creation. For example, the sun, the moon, the constellations, the angels, human figures. The Gemara goes through the prohibition, and it's based upon the psukim in the Torah, obviously, of not to make any images or graven, molten, I don't know, the art scroll writes all these things. And the Gemara of Avodah Zarah makes a difference between creating such forms, owning such forms. There's a difference whether it's easily discernible to be 2D, to be 3D. The Rambam in Hilchos Avodah Zarah and Hilchos Avodas Kechavim says that actually it's forbidden to even make 2D images of the sun and the moon. You'll find that a lot of preschools, when the kids come home with suns, they'll make like a partial sun, something of that sort. It's not forbidden. Okay, I just want to know, the halacha, it's not forbidden if somebody draws a sun or a moon in 2D form. We don't pass that, it's an issue in halacha, but there are those that are still machmir, that are strict in that way. Okay, that's the Rambam. Now the Shulchan Aruch in Yeridea, so he writes that there is a concern about keeping protruding forms of God's creation, so more like 3D type of images. And the Ramah, who us Ashkenazim tend to follow, he says that you don't need to be concerned about any of this. But the Rambam writes, Shulchan Aruch writes, not to minimize it, but he says what they mean is that we're dealing with something that has to do with respect for it, worshiping it, going back to, and I'm going to add this in by myself, in a drasha that we gave, Avodah Zarah really started with something positive. Idol worship started with the truth. Like any other falsehood, it always starts with truth. What was the truth that started in the days of Enosh? That's when Avodah Zarah started, in the days of Enosh, between Adam and Noach. That people started respecting Hashem's creation for what it was. Wow, Hashem made an incredible sun. Look at the power of the sun. Hashem made an incredible moon. Look at the beauty of the moon. Hashem made these powerful mountains. Hashem made rain. Wow, you got to show respect for Hashem's creation. And then, over time, what it became is you got to respect the sun and you forget about God. Avodah Zarah started, the way that people started turning away from God is to start to put too much into the trees and forgetting about the forest, if that's how you want to put it. That's what how Midrashim say. Avodah Zarah started with true. You respect Hashem's creation, but you can't respect the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Ramah writes that all these halachas of the Torah, of the prohibition of making images of the sun, the moon, the constellations, these are all these are things when it comes to worshiping and respecting, but something that's clearly for learning purposes, there's no issue with at all. Now the question is, what about planet Earth? Is that counted as a celestial body? Okay, so is Earth included? The Gemara doesn't list planet Earth. The Gemara says the sun, the moon, constellations, doesn't talk about planet Earth, even though Chazal already knew that the Earth was round before scientists. Scientists, they keep catching up. Someday they're going to figure out too that I think they moved a few years ago that the world was 15 billion, now it's 13 billion. They knocked off a couple billion, just like that. They're getting closer. They're catching up to us. But certainly the Earth, which la halacha, practical to answer that question, which is not worshipped as a celestial power, and it's there more primarily for learning purposes, right? Very often people put globes in their children's rooms to see how they understand the world, or some people are just interested in Hashem's world. Many poskim rule that some people will be strict. I don't want to say it's a stretch. I don't fully grasp why so much. There are those who are makbid on globes. Maybe they don't want to come so close. But la halacha, it's certainly not we don't consider it to be a celestial body. It's not listed in the Gemara. Certainly if it's there for education and it's not made for worship, one does not need to be concerned about owning a globe. Okay. Moshe Feinstein agrees with this as well, and that's the bottom line. Okay.